It's New Comic Book Wednesday. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Rob Wurst. Every Wednesday at 10 p.m., I like to come on and do this little thing that I like to say is called Not Near Mix. The music you're listening to is Brian Carey, which is about to die now. So, how about we jump on over to the chat and say hi to some of the people that joined us tonight. We are first joined by Miss Lady Fantastic. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. Very glad to be off on the Thanksgiving holiday. I'm ready to do a lot of nothing.
All right. Also joining us is Miracleman. Welcome, Miracleman.
Hey, Rob. How you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic now that I have Lady Fantastic and Miracleman with us tonight. But it's not just the three of us tonight now. We have somebody joining us because we have some special news to bring you tonight in regards to an auction we're doing at the end of the week with Robert, the comic book G-Spot Galvin. But before we start discussing that, how about we join us with Mr. TheBoyWhoHad7.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing tonight?
Hey, it's the first time that you're joining us live for one of these. So, how about we introduce ourselves? TheBoyWhoHad7.
So, thank you for having me on, Rob. I'm excited about the holidays. I've got a ton of time right now to do all kinds of comic book stuff. So Rob messaged me earlier today, and he's like, "Hey, come on for 10 minutes, talk about some news that you got going on." And I'm like, "How about I stay for the whole show?" So I'm happy to be here, man. I'm honored. Thanks for having me on.
And I'm honored to have you on. I remember watching you earlier this year, and before I knew you as a YouTube broadcaster, I was watching your auctions, or not necessarily the auctions you would do, but the ones that you would be bidding on. And anytime I saw you in one of these auctions, I'd go, well, that's it, because I'm going to lose everything. I lost so many auctions to you to finally go, wait, he has his own channel?
Yep. You know what, man? I get in there sometimes now, and I start bidding, and then friends start bidding, and I just kind of pull out because I feel bad for doing that to you, man.
It's all a game. We're all trying to get the books that we want to get. In fact, there's one that's behind me that's on your list. So
that's right.
Anybody that has this particular issue, we have Mr. TheBoyWhoHad7 that is looking for this.
Absolutely.
There's 57. If you have it, go on over to the TheBoyWhoHad7 Talks Comics.
That's right.
Let him know, because I'm sure he would want to pick that up.
That's right. I love that cover. Love it.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
So restored on so many copies.
Yeah.
So as we're introducing ourselves, Mr. Miracleman, you have not had the opportunity to speak to TheBoyWhoHad7. So this is the first time you guys are meeting for the first time tonight. Lady Fantastic, you know TheBoyWhoHad7 quite well. At least you've been on his show. It's a show called Comic Gories.
He's all right.
Now, for those that are this broadcast and you don't know what Comic Gories is, how about Matt, TheBoyWhoHad7? Tell us a little about what Comic Gories is. Hopefully you viewers out there know what it is, but if not, go on.
Oh yeah, man, we'd love to have anybody that hasn't heard about it to come join us. So it's a comic book game show that we do for the community, where myself and John's Comics with Kids, we referee a show where we have different contestants come on, and we do what's called Comic Gories. So we take comic categories, put those together, and live during the show, we do a randomizer. We pick a random comic gory, and then we have different members of the comic community go head-to-head with a 30-second clock to find a book from their personal collection, right, to fit that comic gory. And everybody in the chat votes to see who won. And every night we usually have 4 to the last time we had 16 people on at once. But we usually have about 4 contestants going at it, and then at the end of the night, someone's crowned the winner of that show. So it's a good time. Both Rob and Lady Fantastic have been on the show. We've got another one coming up on Friday that we're excited about. So it's good times. Come join us if you guys can.
I'm the best.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you
It is really fun. I love watching that show and participating. How did you guys think of it?
So I was on another show, and I was thinking to myself, I need to do something for my channel. I want to do something fun for the community. And then all of a sudden I had this idea, man, what if we do a game show where people have to choose the categories randomly, or the categories randomly? So I was hanging out with JP's Budget Collecting and Comic Books NYC.
They're both awesome.
Two great guys, right? And I mentioned to him, let's do some type of game show. And then so JP's like, well, you know what will make you different than anybody else is if you do it within 30 seconds. So I'm like, yeah, because we wanted a timer, and I'm like, 30 seconds. I mean, that would be like people
Keep
going
streamlined.
Yes. And then NYC's like, how about this, and that? So then I ran it by John's Comics with Kids because he's such a great host. And I thought, if I want anybody with me doing it, he would be great to be the referee.
He's a cheese, and he likes to cheese it.
Yeah, he does. He sure does. And so after a while, we kind of got it exactly where we wanted it, and it is what it is now. People are loving it. So
I love it.
Yeah.
And interaction with the people in the chat, where the people in the chat get to vote. So now that you open it up to the chat room, for those that can't win an auction by going 1 or 2, you can vote for that person, and your vote counts because John counts up all of them, even if there's 40 people watching.
It's like Dancing with the Stars.
That's right, baby. That's right. Yeah, we had about 50 people strong on Monday.
Oh man, yeah, it was
It was awesome. And everybody was voting, and we had such a good time. Lady Fantastic, you were on it. You do so good. I love it.
I had a blast, man.
Yeah.
So, I'd need a handicap because my comics are all in the basement, so I'd be running down the stairs and back up in between each.
Yep.
So I'd need at least a 15-second handicap. That's all I'm saying.
We have a couple guys in the community like Bear Island Comics who he has the same thing. He has his comics down in his basement. And so for the show, he's got to bring them all up to the room where he records in. And so he told me on Monday, he's like, man, if you had given me 48 hours, I could have brought everything up. But he's like, I can't do it with just because we came up with a show with 5 hours before we went live. And we still had so many people show up. It's such a good time. So, anytime you want Miracleman, you come on the show.
Right on, man. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I picked up on that one.
So before we start breaking any news tonight, how about we start asking, because this is New Comic Wednesday. It's the 27th of November. It's the day that we always look forward to, no matter how shitty our week has been. So how about we ask, what comics did you get? Let's start off with Lady Fantastic. What did you get this week?
Man, so you guys, I received a package in the mail from Rob Worst today, full of all kinds of amazing nuggets. I'll show you just a few of them that I received, but they will be in the auction on Friday, so just check it out. Amazing Spider-Man 252 newsstand.
Very
nice.
He gave me the Marvel Action Spider-Man number 10, the variant.
Oh, man.
The Amazing Spider-Man 529, where it's like a, Spider, Iron Man, Iron Spider. He gave me What the 26th, first Spider-Ham,
Nice.
$20.99. Secret Wars number 1. And honestly, it's a freaking most bad A Captain America 111, awesome Steranko cover.
Dang.
Just
gorgeous.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's
So I'll just show those for now, and we can, get around to other stuff later if you want. But I just wanted to show those. Rob is very
I had 2 copies of that.
Nice.
Oh, your turn. I mean, actually, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, you're just passing
My
on.
name's Rob Worst. I am the worst. So, how about Miracleman? What did you get?
So I'll show you a couple of the back issue pickups I did this week. Grabbed myself a pair of Valiant Magnus Robot Fighters there. I actually got 3 books. I got 2, 3, and 4, but for the life of me, I can't find 2 at the moment. But right there's 3 and 4. This is what Valiant was still really, really unique compared to its contemporaries, and was telling something that was, really stood out as unique and unusual compared to all the other comics that were out there. Even though it was kind of carrying on a story from the 50s Gold Key era, definitely updated it. And, it wasn't until like the 20s that it started getting to be kind of bad. 2001 Space Odyssey number 9 there. Grab that one. That's the second appearance, I think, of Machine Man there. And I got my copy of John Carter 18 with the first Frank Miller work there. That was actually a pretty nice grab for me. I think I got it for $4.
Nice.
And now all 3 of us have a copy of that finally.
Yeah. Or do you have one, Matt?
I don't.
Dude, you know the significance of it, right?
Tell me about it.
All right. So, John Carter, Warlord of Mars, number 18, is the first book that Frank Miller pencils on Marvel.
Really?
Yep.
Frank Miller. Nice, man. So now I need to get one.
Rob, do you have it on hand quickly, or do I need to go grab it?
I do have it on hand, but let's show yours while I grab it.
Oh, okay. All right.
30 seconds. Go.
All right, I'll show you guys what I found today. This is nuts, dude. Found this thing, this Ronin, this Asia cover, AJA, number 4 or 5, but apparently it goes for like $30 to $60. I found it for like 75 cents. Now, these things I want to show you, I've never freaking seen in my life. Have you ever seen Spider-Man and Red Sonja?
Wow, that's crazy. No.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyone?
That.
Anyone?
No.
Spider-Man and flipping Red Sonja. So
That's
this is
crazy.
1 of 5. Here is 3 of 5.
What?
It's friggin' wicked.
It wasn't even a one shot. It was like a series.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Here is 5 of 5 where he's with Red Sonja.
Wow. I've never even heard of this.
The famous Mary Jane kiss.
Getting ready to hit it.
Right. Red Sonja would rock his.
I know. Is this insane or what? I've never lived before until I saw this. But anyways, all right. Rob, yeah, show Matt.
So there's my copy. So there's 1 out of 3. Then there's 2 out of 3, and our 3rd person out of 3.
Nice, guys. Nice.
Lady's still trying to find hers, Rob. But that's all right.
You need to get mine? Yeah, I'll go get mine.
When you can have 3 squares, it's like freaking tic-tac-toe over here.
I'm the odd man out now, right?
Well, it's okay because I usually have a segment called What's in the Briefcase. But I already have the comics out, so I'll run through them real quickly because they're the same books that probably everybody else has.
Cool.
So I'll zoom into this, and these are the books that came out this week. John Carter, Warlord of Mars, number 18 is not one of them. But the cellophane, or rather acetate version of Action Comics 1017 came out. This is a good-looking cover. Once you peel it back, it shows a whole bunch of bodies of Superman. For those people that have some Schadenfreude for Kal-El. I didn't know that this came out today, but my guy John Freshley over at Frank's Comics in Miami, he set aside one of these for me. He said, this isn't on your list, but I figured you might want to pick it out. And I love the first issue. It reminded me of a good old 1980s horror movie. So looking forward to reading the second.
Cool.
Batgirl number 41 came out this week.
What'd you get me?
I haven't read any of these tonight. It's just been pick it up, put them in bags, get ready for the show.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking forward to seeing Blight versus Batwoman Beyond, especially since 37 blew up this week. He set aside one of these. It's not on my pull list, so I'm glad to pick it up. Thankful, you'd even say. Detective Comics 1026, the variant cover.
And then I got this one just because.
Nice.
Flash 83. So this is the 83rd issue of a series that I have not read any of except for the button. I know that sounds so bad. Shazam 8. I haven't read the last 3 because of the sporadic shipping dates.
That's a cool cover.
Yeah, I preferred this to the variant cover. The variant cover, I'm not certain who did that. I think it could have been Johnson, but it was very simple. I preferred this.
Yeah.
Agreed.
12 of them
Same one.
from eBay for $20. It was $19.50. $16 plus $30.50 shipping.
Avengers 27, continuing the Star Brand storyline. I guess we have somebody that's in our chat room. It's let's see if I can find him. Ricky over here. He wound up picking up the very first issue of Star Brand earlier this week. So I'm looking forward to getting a copy for myself eventually.
Cool.
Fallen Angels 2. Out of the stories that have been written for the spin-offs of the House of X, Powers of X, this is the one that I think is the least of all of them. But it's Psylocke, so let's see how that story plays out with her Black Ops team. Now, Tom Scioli, he does a show called Kayfabe along with Ed Piskor, who worked on the grand design of X-Men. This is his Fantastic Four. It's the variant version that came out this week. This is a telling of the first 100 stories of Fantastic Four compressed.
That's cool.
Ghost Spider number 4. I haven't even read the first issue, but I'm looking forward to reading 1 through 6 once the 6th one comes out. Ironheart, I love Eve Ewing's writing. I haven't read the last 3, so hopefully this weekend I'll get a chance to read up on it. New Mutants 2, this is one of the better of these storylines because it's at least the mutants in space. I will probably not read this, but at least it's a nice looking Scotty Young cover.
I didn't see that one, man. I love it.
Yeah, it was pretty nice looking, but I know nothing about Scream the character, but it was a nice looking cover, and it was only $4.99, so might as well.
Cool.
Venom 20, I guess Dylan Brock, we're going to learn some new things about him in this, but I don't think we're going to see him turn full symbiote. X-Force 2, this is more Black Ops version of X-Men, so looking forward to reading that this weekend, and the last of which Valkyrie, Jane Foster. So those are the books that came out this week. And how about we jump to the next portion of our show?
Nice.
So we have a bunch of cats in the room because anybody that has a comic book show has to have a cat.
Sorry. Yeah.
That too.
Yeah, Miss Kitty is instigating with Shorty there. Anyways,
Nice.
yeah, Shortbox Padawan is stopping by real quick. That's what and then Miss Kitty was yelling at her. So was something asked or said?
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay.
Robert showing off his pools.
That's all good. So since we got through all this, what are you thankful for this year? Who wants to go first? Matt?
Sure.
Joining us as a guest for the very first time on the show. What are you thankful for this year?
Man, so most importantly, I'm thankful for the family, man, the wife, the children, the growth that I see. So a lot of people don't know, but I'm the boy who had 7. Which means I have 7 kids, guys. So married my high school sweetheart, been together almost 20 years in January. That's right. So, I mean, I've seen my kids grow this year, all kinds of stuff that they're doing. So first,
how old is your oldest and your youngest?
So my oldest just turned 17 yesterday. And so my youngest is she will be 8 in like a week and a half.
My oldest birthday Monday.
Got a big old
Dude, you had a decade of diapers.
we did, man. We did.
One decade.
In 10 years, we had 7 kids. And
You look like you're freaking like 23, though.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Like when he was a kid, I was adding some years because I figured he'd have to be older to have like a kid that was 17. And no, he's very close to our age.
Yeah.
Like my cousin, she is like, I think maybe 40, 42.
Mhm.
And I remember she would always say, I'm never having kids.
Mhm.
Never having kids. She's got 4 of them and she loves it.
Yeah. Now I got interviewed one time in high school for the yearbook, and people asked me what I want to be when I grow up, and I actually just put a dad. You know, it was a dream of mine, and I've been blessed. And this year I've seen my kids grow and accomplish a lot of things in school and sports, in their personal lives as human beings. So I'm really grateful to God for those things and for taking care of us. And that's the thing I'm most important for, or I'm thankful for, excuse me. But having to do with YouTube, I finally hit that 1,000 this year.
Boom.
And, I hit all the right numbers, 1,000 subscribers, the 4,000 watch hours. I just recently was able to monetize. And honestly, I'm grateful to all of you guys that come and watch,
Wow.
that support me, that invite me on the show, that come to Comment Gories, that are my friends, that message me on Instagram and Twitter and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It has been a blessing and a gift to get to know everybody. So I am just very grateful for your guys' friendship and for the opportunity we have to know each other and come together like this and just have a blast together. So really grateful for that.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful that y'all are here. I never envisioned when I first started doing this show that I would be able to speak with the very people that I wind up watching almost on a regular basis.
Man, you have been a great friend, Rob, and a good person to have hang out with and be on shows. And so I'm honored to be on your show tonight, my friend.
Yeah, I think Rob and I got to know each other just through certain streams, like the live chats. And I mean, he had a very dry, twisted sense of humor, and I really liked it. And again, I think I really have to concur with Matt. I started this thing in April of this year, and the community and social network that I have created that is positive and supportive, and those that are comics, it's really badass, man. And I'm so I'm very, very thankful for it. And there's just so many amazing people, and it makes me feel better about the world because all you hear is like some pretty dookie stories, and this like kind of restores my faith in humanity.
Yeah.
I'm thankful Rob fixed his camera.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was up the entire time.
I was getting seasick, man. I'm looking over here like, what did this guy do to himself?
I thought it was zoomed in talking to Lady Fantastic as I was trying to fix the camera.
It's all good, man.
But that is very on brand for me.
This is a reality show.
Right.
Because I have this webcam that's on my regular computer and it looks like ass, which is why I wound up sending all those books on over to Lady Fantastic, because I'm going, man, she is such a good broadcaster. I want her to have a really good camera because she should be blowing me away with video quality.
There you go.
That's
It looks much better now.
That makes me feel really flattered because
Right?
honestly, I just kind of get on here and shoot the breeze, but there's got to be something that you hear in this nerd language that we speak. I don't know. It's just fun. It's just fun.
It is fun.
I mean, I'm not here for a popularity contest. I'm here to laugh and talk comics, but you'll find that a lot of people have that in common.
Yeah, this is true.
And Tony Fett, he's also a really cool guy. He, I don't know if you've been on his show,
Oh, yeah.
Matt, But Rob and I he was really, really knowledgeable, big DC dude, and he's got like umpteen zillion signed DC comics. But I just wanted to holler out to him and say, hey, thanks, Tony, for visiting. Hey, Comic Head, all you dudes. All right.
I haven't been on with Tony Fett, so I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I just
You
realized
guys
I'm
should
not
talk.
even.
Hey, I'm connecting it.
I just realized I'm not even subscribed, even though I know him.
Oh, yeah,
So
Tony
I am
Fett's awesome.
subscribing now.
Gotta make it happen.
That's right.
I'm a matchmaker.
Matchmaker.
Comic Head 84 coming in with his WWE personas, but like better, like WWE to the infinite power.
And we even have Simple Man comic books that's joining us tonight.
The big dog in the house.
Now, he's somebody that is on my Twitter. I watch his videos for the final cutoff, and it was through his videos that I wound up getting the book that I sent to Carolyn. So that issue of Marvel Action 10 that you got, if it wasn't for Simple Man,
You made this happen.
At the bottom, he's the man that you should subscribe to and watch his videos. So
I am subbed to Simple Man. He breaks it down.
Yes, he does. So, anybody, if you're in the chat room right now and you're not subbed up to everybody else that's in the chat room, many people that watch these videos also make videos. So it's interesting to watch what everybody else is doing. So you might be able to, like how I have 2 cameras running here. I want to expand. I look at somebody like TheBoyWhoHad7. I look at people like Tony Fett. I'm watching what they do because I want to make better videos. Now, I can't edit things right now because I don't have the time, but there's other people that do, and I want to learn from them. So if you want to learn how to do these videos, if you have a camera, you can do what I'm doing.
That's right. That's right, man. I've seen so many people this year that were in the chat all the time, and all of a sudden they're like, guys, I'm thinking of making a channel. What should I do? Make your channel, baby. It's good to see it happen.
What's the worst that's going to happen? It doesn't get watched. Okay. You live and you learn.
Yep.
The great thing about being human is that we all fail a lot. So, it's a learning curve.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never failed at anything ever.
There you go. There you go.
Yet. You haven't failed at anything yet.
Ah, yes. Mr. Positivity over here. I guess that's what happens when your name is Rob Worse, right?
Oh, you remind me of somebody, actually. You remind me of somebody. It's a politician.
Oh, I see where you're going with
I'm
that.
stopping.
That was cruel. That's all I'm saying. It was cruel.
Bolo YOLO.
Dan Piercy, thank you for joining us tonight. Dan Piercy, I was on his chat room not that long ago. He's a great person to talk to because he was doing articles for Comics Journal. This guy has been around for a long time. He's what's considered the OG when it comes to reporting on comic books. So it was great to have a conversation with him. As far as knowledgeable people in comics, Dan's the man.
Cool.
And somebody else that's in the house here that we're going to talk about is Comic Head 84. Who apparently this Friday we're going to be doing some head-to-head because Comic Gories, well, should we break the news right about now? Because I know that some people need to run a little earlier. Miracleman, you're one of the people that I know need to keep this under an hour. So the breaking news that we have tonight is Comic Gories will be leading into our auction on Robert the Comic Book G-Spot Galvin's YouTube page, which will be held this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But the show that will be going on earlier will be the biggest, the best comic book show that is on the internets. That is TheBoyWhoHad7 Talks Comic Books, Comic Gories at 6 p.m. Eastern Time this Friday.
Yeah. Let's do it. I get an adrenaline rush watching, and I'm not even competing.
Yes, I know. I get an adrenaline rush watching, and it's even like different. It's completely different when you're competing. It's like different level.
Yep.
Super fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. So we were originally going to go at 8 p.m. Eastern too, and then I realized that we're getting in your guys' way, and we got to make sure everybody goes to your guys' auction. So we moved it 2 hours earlier so we could get it said and done with, and finish up our Halloween special, and then have everyone go from Comic Gories over to your guys' auction. So excited to have Rob on, and excited to have Kenny if he can make it. We've got Superpower Review. We've got DS Comics. We've got Whodat Comics.
Man, those are all heavy hitters, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So you guys know you were there for the Halloween special. I bit off more than I could chew, right? 16 people. That show should have gone 6 hours if we wanted to do it right. So on Monday this week, we kind of did the second part of it. And on Friday, it'll be the third and final part. The winner will be crowned. And then I'll be sending them 9.8 white pages, baby. Yeet.
Nice.
Yeah.
So excited to do that.
So somebody that hasn't participated yet on Comic Gories is Miracleman. And this is somebody that we know, and I'm not going to try and egg you on, but he has some books that I'm pretty sure could go against and win against many other people that are competing. It's just up to him if one day in the near future, whoever's the competing champion should go against this man.
That'd be cool.
I'd be interested in trying that out.
Oh, we lost him.
Uh-oh.
We lost him.
There we go.
I meant to blow you up.
Well, Rob. So yeah, no, I'd definitely be into doing that. I watched the show before. It looked like a lot of fun. I'll just have to brainstorm a little bit first and move what I can move upstairs. I have a few dozen long boxes in the attic for storage purposes. I could probably bring down. So
cool.
Definitely.
I've been thinking, Miracle Man, for someone like you that would have to move heaven and earth to get your boxes all around you, to do a show where I kind of give out the categories early, and then I tell everyone you've got one short box or long box you can fill up, and that's what you have to compete with.
Okay.
And so, because there's a lot of guys in the community that are like, dude, my collection is everywhere. I can't do it, but I want to be on your show. And I thought, well, if I give out the Comic Gories early and you guys get one box to pull from, we might be able to do something like that.
Yeah, that would definitely work for me. Something that I could keep up.
Yeah,
ready to go. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. We're gonna have to do it then.
Right on, man. Yeah, the collection is hovering right around 20,200. So I got a few things I can choose from.
Yeah, what Grayman has just.
Oh my god!
We need links in the description, and we will get on that after the end of tonight's episode. Sometime tomorrow, I'll try and make sure that links are posted throughout, so this way everyone knows where to go. Otherwise, I believe on TheBoyWhoHad7's Instagram page, there should probably be a link.
Yeah.
If not, we'll just make sure that we have links everywhere so you all know where to go.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Right on. Lady, did you just show your John Carter?
Yeah.
That was the most delayed reaction I think I've ever seen in the history of YouTube live streams. I don't know.
I love it. I love it.
It's gorgeous. I mean, it's pretty. It's pretty.
Thank you.
Hey, Rob, I can actually stick around a little longer, man. So
you can. Great.
Yeah, I don't have to hop out quick. Hey, I wanted to show you one or two of the new ones I got. You banged out a couple of decent books, but a couple of the smaller press and one I'm surprised I didn't see you grab. But fifth issue of Second Coming came out today. Man, I'm telling you, if you like stories that don't pull any punches, man, I'll tell you what, this has been fantastic. There was a lot of hubbub before the book even came out, people trying to boycott it and stuff. So they left Vertigo and they went to Ahoy. And I'll tell you what, man, I this is a top of the read pile book for me. Mark Russell's the writer. Richard Pace is doing the art. It's really good. Jesus Christ Comes to Earth. and basically lives with Superman. It's not Superman, but basically lives with Superman. It's just a fantastic story. Monster Planet from Zenoscope. These guys are known for basically one thing, and it's essentially not monsters. Well, I mean, it is monsters, but it's TNA monsters. Beautiful art, not usually great stories, but this one's actually been pretty good. If you see it, I do recommend this one. Basically, a military squad goes into destroyed Chicago to meet with a group of allied monsters because there's an alien infection that's turned humans into these creatures that can kill both humans and monsters. So it's a cool concept, fun start to it. Betty Page Unbound from Dynamite. Betty Page has been traveling through the multiverse, inhabiting the lives of characters that she inspired. Obviously, she did not inspire Dorothy, but she was in a Red Sonja life. She was in a Vampirella life. And this is her first issue where she's back. And now she's running through these different storylines and movies that Betty Page was essentially the character backdrop for one of the female characters. The first one is Body Snatchers that she's doing here. And then Freedom Fighters number 11, last issue is about to come out. This one just came out today, second to last. Dude, this has been fantastic. Kicks off right out of Multiversity. So it's continuing that storyline on. Vendetti is doing it, and he's just killing it. I think everything he's touching for DC right now is just fantastic. And that's been no exception. And then, I can't believe you didn't get this.
Yes, I get that one.
Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Infinite Crisis. Did you get to read it?
I haven't. Not yet, man.
Do I call you Boy or Mr. Seven?
You can call me 7, man.
Okay.
7.
All right, 7. Do I?
Or you can call me Matt. That's my name.
Okay. All right, Matt. So, I read this one. This was actually the first book I read when I got out because Blue Beetle is a character that's very near and dear to my heart. Cool. And the whole story is centered around Ted Cord not dying.
Yeah.
For Infinite Crisis. And now here's the thing.
It came out today?
This came out today.
I missed it. I'm going to need to let John know. If you're watching the show tonight, throw that into my box.
Right, man.
I'll be in on Friday.
It's a great story, but reading this one, I realized how much backstory they had to fit into the original Infinite Crisis, because they try to do it here in like 2 pages, and it doesn't work great. If you weren't real familiar with Infinite Crisis, this story would probably be very confusing, just to be honest.
Can I sum it up in about 2 sentences?
Do it.
Dr. Light rapes elongated man's wife, Jean Loring, who goes insane and kills... I'm trying to remember the name.
That's Identity Crisis.
Oh.
Not Infinite Crisis. This
Oh,
one's the sequel. This one's right. Sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths, unofficially. But the use of the Earth 2 Superman and Lois is very, very, very short in this book. But Blue Beetle, as you can kind of see there, kind of merges with OMAC. He takes over. And there was just so many divergent storylines that all came together in Infinite Crisis. You really need to know Infinite Crisis to get this one. If you didn't, it's gonna be confusing. Luckily,
Ted Cord not dying. I'm there for that one alone, says the Gray Man.
Right? Yeah, I'm with you, Gray Man. I'm a big Ted Cord guy. This storyline, that when he died, man, that was like a heart getting ripped right out of your chest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one was tough. I mean, don't get me wrong. Losing Sue was definitely a kick in the gonads because, just that scene with Sue and Ralph and Identity Crisis that you were talking about, that one was really rough. But when you lost Blue Beetle, it was like losing a piece of the DC universe that was still good because there was a lot of things that were getting darker, just like they say in Infinite Crisis. The universe was getting darker, and the Earth 2 heroes and Alex Luthor and Superboy Prime were watching it and hated how it was going. And all those are elements of it. And Blue Beetle was he was a linchpin character in Crisis on Infinite Earths. He was part of that original group that got built by the Monitor. So from like 1986 in DC Comics all the way up until he died in Infinite Crisis, which was 07, I think. He was a very integral part of the entire universe. Everybody knew Blue Beetle. Everybody knew Ted Kord. He had a great working relationship with the entire DC character. What's that?
Oh no, I think a YouTube broadcast that I was trying to mix off on here.
Gotcha. So yeah, this was nice to revisit and see Ted. It's not great to see Ted go down a dark path, which obviously everybody's going to go down a dark path in these dark multiverse stories, but that was kind of tough. But other than that, it was a good story. So sorry, I just wanted to throw those out. Like I said, I was surprised you didn't have that one.
No, I'm glad that you showed it. This is why I have to watch other people's broadcasts so I can know what I missed over the course of a week.
Yeah.
Any of you guys pick up the 2099 books that came out today?
I know there was a Punisher one that came out. I put it back on the rack.
I think I'm gonna pass on the 2099s.
Same here.
But can I? Yeah. Are we gonna do a thing like where we say we're thankful for stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Because I just want to talk about this one thing, and I want to bring up TheBoyWhoHad7 Matt and Sharon, Life with Two YouTubers, and how things come full circle sometimes. So I believe that TheBoyWhoHad7 was doing like mystery boxes or something, but like really nice ones or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Sharon, I believe, got one. And we had met, and she had gotten some really cool comics at our auction, but we become friends. And she sent me this.
Oh, you got it, huh? Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome.
So
yeah.
So this is one of two slabs I own. So it came from TheBoyWhoHad7, from Sharon to Sharon, from Sharon to me, and then the other one that I have, I had sent Rod the Rican, it was a Marvel team up with early Morbius appearance, and he sent this. Adam Hughes, Detective 453 cover swipe. And so the two and also like there's 4 books I just wanted to show. Like I'm just so thankful for that have come from people in the community that just like blew my mind. Okay. So those are 2 slabs that I got. I never had a slab before, and those came from people in the community. Okay. Another one is Astonishing Tales number 24. Awesome. It's from Night Tiger. I just think it's in such beautiful shape. But basically, this was drawn by Larry Lieber, who is Stan Lee's brother. It's just the bomb. And this is like, I think, 3rd appearance, but maybe 2nd cover appearance of Fing Fang Foom, something like that. And then the last one from Unruly Simeon.
Oh, Simeon.
I almost pooped myself.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
No. X-Men number 12 or 14. The first Sentinels.
That is legit.
Dude, I am a huge X-Men fan. I almost fainted. I almost freaking fainted.
Way to go, Unruly Simeon.
Like this is Unruly Simeon. So this is since I have made all of these relationships, these are the kindnesses, but it only motivates me to want to send more out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, holy crap, I can't do enough to be able to get out, pay it forward. And so, like, when I get these crazy things, it just prompts me to want to send more stuff out.
That's
It's
amazing.
just crazy, man. It's
That's
just
amazing.
crazy. So many awesome people out there. So I can't be more thankful than for individuals out in the community that just show love for no other reason than to show it.
That's so cool. So cool.
And somebody I want to thank from the community, Tony Fett. Right now, he is in a hospital bed. He is on the mend right now. And apparently, the only way in which to watch our show is high on painkillers.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that he's feeling good and loopy and more good than loopy. But hopefully, you're enjoying the show, getting a good laugh. And, hopefully, you'll be back making videos and be better than ever.
Get better, Tony. It's a good name. That's my middle name.
Yeah. So are there any community members that you want to throw out some thanks for this year? Who wants to start? Lady Fantastic?
I'm thankful for so many individuals out here. I mean, most among them, you guys that are present here, but also even like Stay Puft Gray Man, some of these guys have been around for a long time, and they're just like a lot of, I don't know, just a lot of random people, but they have their own regular lives, but they take the time to look at my books, and something about it makes them happy, because they wouldn't click like or comment if it didn't. And I think what makes them happy is our shared enthusiasm of the books. And that's really all I want to try and bring. It's not going to be super edited. Steven Spielberg, I ain't. But what I do want to try to communicate is that I freaking love comic books, and I love the stories that they tell. And I think that we would be silly to cast them aside as childish stories, because a lot of them have excellent allegories and tales that reflect the human condition.
Yeah. Amen. Drop the mic.
Yeah, take that, Frederick Wortham.
Yeah, and I can't wait for turkey.
Turkey sounds good for tomorrow.
Amen.
You know what I'm thankful for? I haven't had to work all week. I've been very thankful for that.
Nice.
That's been the most thankful thing. I worked retail for quite a number of years, running different retail stores, and it lasts 4 years now. I've been out of that life, and wow. Holidays. I didn't know what a holiday was.
Oh my gosh.
I heard the stories of them, but my experience with holidays were quite a bit different than I think, most other people's were for a large chunk of my life. And summers and all those times where you want to enjoy life with your family, I never got to. So I finally get that. And I'll tell you what, man, that's the thing I'm most thankful for every single year, is I actually get to enjoy time with my family now. But one of the other things I'm extremely thankful for is badass comics, I think, as we can all agree. And I just wanted to show off some real quick that I was thankful for as in when I was a young guy getting into comics. If it wasn't for these comics, I don't know if I'd be a comic guy today. And one of them is Justice League 200 here. Everybody else got this book?
Somewhere in my collection, I know I do.
Man, I'll tell you what. This here is the Justice League comic to own. Boland, Dick Giordano, Carmen Infantino, Gil Kane, Brett Breeding, Joe Kubert, George Perez, Jerry Conway, Aparo. I mean, you name it in the DC stable of writers and artists in this era, and they worked on this book, and it is one of the coolest Justice League comics of the whole series. They team up an early team member with one of the newer team members, and then they go back and they have to fight one of the original team members. That book was so influential on me. It definitely made me a comic fan. Same thing with this Action Comics 500 here, man. Another wrap cover. It's Infinity cover too. This is a history of Superman up until this point. This is 1979. So this was a lot of silver and bronze lunacy. But, man, it just brought all the Superman mythos together, explained everything, and made sense to a kid. I remember that cover. Mine was destroyed from when I was a kid. But I remember this cover so well that as I became an adult collector, it was one of the first books I went and tracked down. And probably the comic I'm most thankful for existing, period.
Nice.
Crisis on Infinite Earths #1. Again, coincidentally, another wraparound cover.
Nice.
But you know what? This book right here, we're about to finally have a TV show that by all accounts sounds like it's going to be one of the most amazing crossovers in the history of television.
Yeah.
Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I'll tell you what, man, Crisis on Infinite Earths took me from a comic book fan and turned me into a comic book fanatic. That book, there's my man, Blue Beetle, Ted Cord right there. That book sucked me in. It wipes out Earth 3 in the first 3 pages.
Yeah. Brings
all these characters from the multiverse together, most of which I knew, but I didn't know all of them at this point. This was, 85, I think, fall 85 when it came out. But I know all the characters that were involved on here. And it was a team of heroes and villains mixed together from all these different worlds. And that series, man, if you read Crisis on Infinite Earths as it came out, I don't know how you didn't. If you read comics in 1985 and 86 and didn't read Crisis, I don't know how you did that.
I was 3.
Well, there you go. That's fair. I got a couple of years on you, I guess. But, if you were reading actively at the time, that there was just the best series that, in my mind, that ever came out. It definitely was a very core, central piece of my collection as I began to collect and building out. One of the first things I went and I did was find all the Crisis crossovers. Because I ran through their whole line. I put that collection together. It was one of the first collections I did.
So cool.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful book. It's beautiful. So those are the comics I'm thankful. Actually, you know what? No, I got to show you one more. Hold on, man. Hold on. I got to show you one more. And this one here, again, weird wrap cover. Doom Patrol from the 87 Kupperberg run. First issues when they brought them back after they died in the 70s, and I think they died in the 60s, came back in the 70s, were forgotten, came back again. Doom Patrol is the team that will never die, and it's the series that never dies. I think right now is volume 9.
Mm-hmm.
This book here, again, wraparound cover. This book here, man, when I got this, when it came off the racks brand new, this is a book that just sucked me right in. I was all Doom Patrol, even when it went over to Grant Morrison, and he was writing way above my reading level at 12 years old. I still kept at it, being confused as hell and just still really digging the characters, man. That's comic book DNA for me right there. That book. If you cut me, I bleed Doom Patrol.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm almost done with the full run. I got my Greatest, the first appearance last year. And I just have a few more My Greatest to get, and I'm done.
That's cool.
All my run just starts and ends all with the Grant Morrison issues, but they were great issues, and I love the TV series. So it's the first individual issues by Kupperman that I only have the first issue and a couple sporadic ones, but until I have the full run, it remains unread, like so many of my other books.
Yeah, they're easy to come by. Larson was doing the art in later issues, and Larson, like I'm nothing against Eric Larson at all. I just don't think it was the art for the book, and I also don't think Kupperberg. So when Doom Patrol was originally killed off, the relaunch showcase brought back a new Doom Patrol with a Negative Woman, Celsius, and Tempest here. And they were a new team with the original Robot Man whose body was rebuilt. And he was the writer on that 3-issue miniseries in Showcase, or those 3 issues in Showcase. And it was supposed to spring into a new series. It wasn't popular enough. They got mothballed. He did one story in Superman Family with the characters. And I think this was preceded by a Secret Origins issue that Kupperberg did because he was pushing to relaunch Doom Patrol all along. He finally got it, and he didn't like any of the artists he worked with on this series. He didn't like this artist, which is Lytle and Martin, I think, doing it. Then he didn't like Larson, and then finally DC was like, you know what, we're going to cancel this anyway. Let's just give it to Morrison and see what happens. And the rest, of course, is history.
Yeah, we have this British jerk off over here that wants to write some nothing title. Just
Right.
give it to him.
Right.
And history was made.
Yeah. Yeah, that Crawling from the Wreckage. I mean, if you read it now, it doesn't really stand out. I mean, obviously it's a little weird, but it certainly doesn't stand out because we're so used to higher thinking in comics. But, you know, at the time, Morrison was being really, really weird about it, and that was really unusual. The first villains were fictional characters that came into the real world, and their dialogue was written completely by Grant Morrison typing on his word processor, just hitting the keys, and whatever his word processor's autocorrect changed it to, that was their dialogue. A little weird piece of story there.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Just knew that he was into like the art of motorcycle maintenance. And Kafka and all those beat poets from the 1970s that heavily influenced enough so that he'd write the exact same kind of story.
Yeah, he did tie in a lot of stuff that was real world, like the painting that ate Paris. That's tying in some concepts from outside, from the literary world and from the film world into Doom Patrol and kind of adding it into their mythos. You know, when he first introduced Danny the Street, I don't even think I understood what Danny the Street was supposed to be. I think it took me 3 or 4 issues to figure out Danny the Street was really a living street.
It was a concept born as life, kind of like that when the Authority fought God, they had a more representative idea rather than just the idea of God.
Right. They fought a giant space slug, essentially.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Man, I miss those old Authority issues. I wish they would give us an Authority book like that again, man.
They keep trying to restart the damn thing, and every time they restart it, it just goes nowhere. Like when Grant Morrison tried writing it. He did one full issue. And that was, and then came the Lost Years, and then they tried rebooting it with Stormwatch and Wildstorm, and then they had a Wildstorm series when they introduced it at the very end, and again it didn't take off.
Yeah.
As usual.
Yeah, you know, they can't figure out how to do the Authority the right way now that it's under the mainstream DC universe. I mean, obviously the Authority was born out of you know, kind of taking swings at DC, really, if you think about it. Obviously, the Midnighter and Apollo were Superman and Batman. And they were when it first came out that they were gay, there was a bit of a hubbub about it. Although you could tell, if you read the first issue, you could see the very first scene they're in, they're naked together. So I don't understand why anybody thought anything other. But they just can't seem to pull the trigger and do that book the right way. If you gave it back to Ellis and said, here, do whatever you want with these characters in this new Wildstorm universe you created, just go nuts, it would sell. Warren Ellis writing superheroes where he's allowed to do whatever he wants, those books sell. People want to read them. If they don't read them right then and there, they definitely gain popularity over the years.
Unfortunately, Warren Ellis is writing a book where he can write pretty much whatever he wants, and he even has Hitch doing the art on it, and that's Batman the Grave or the Graveyard. It's not selling as well as one would hope, given the pedigree and the caliber of the people working on it. Instead, it's getting ridiculed because they're making fun of the right wing in certain portions of the first issue.
Oh.
So that's just something that's happening right now, apparently.
Matt, do you know much about Spider-Man?
A little bit. He's my favorite.
Do you know much about Scarlet Spider?
A little bit.
I don't know much at all. So I found this book today, and it says Scarlet Spider 1, all of the power, none of the responsibility.
Yeah, so that's one that I don't know much about.
That's fair.
Yeah, I didn't collect for certain years, and that looks like one of those books that when I was out of collecting, they came out. So I know 90s stuff, early 2000, and then 2014 and on.
You know 90s stuff?
I do. Yeah, that's when I was collecting. Like the 90s is my jam.
I found these things. I found Planet of the Symbionts.
Okay. Heck yes.
I found number 4.
Yes, that's a good story right there.
And number 5.
Yeah. It's a great story. Has to do with Scarlet Spider too.
Yeah, because if you flip it over, so let me show you this. Okay. All right. Boo-doo-boo.
Those are pretty pricey.
There's this media store, dude, that they
don't know what they got.
I got it for less than $3.
Yes. Okay, you got a good deal right there.
Yeah. So here's this, but then watch, kaboom.
Yep. Heck yeah.
So they all have 2 different stories in them.
They do. If you have all of them, I think it's 5.
It is 5.
Yeah, if you have all 5, you got about $110 right there, $120.
Wow.
Damn.
No shit.
Yeah.
So when you were in the 90s, were you a Marvel guy?
Yeah, man. So my brother-in-law, who was actually my sister's just her boyfriend at the time, walked into my room when I was like 8, 9 years old with a stack of comic books like this high.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, here, bro, like these are comics I've been collecting. I know that you like this kind of stuff. Have them. And so he handed me Death of Superman, Infinity Gauntlet, like just a whole bunch of good
stuff. Man, yeah.
And so I started reading them and fell in love with Infinity Gauntlet. It's my favorite story of all time. I was probably between the years of 9 and 10 when those were coming out. So fell in love with all of those. Then I went to a local comic shop. It was actually more of a sports card shop. And I went in there and I bought this book. This is the first book I ever bought.
Oh, man.
So there it is. Got it all up on the wall.
That's cool.
I fell in love with Ghost Rider, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Jim Lee's X-Men, McFarlane's Spider-Man. All that stuff is everything that I fell in love with. And then I like I told you guys earlier, I married my high school sweetheart, 2000, and we started having a bunch of kids, so I didn't have the money or the time to.
I know, like, Gray Man tells the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts.
I love Marvel from the 90s, man. So I got out of collecting until about 2014, 13, and then after watching Man of Steel, I went upstairs, grabbed those books that my brother-in-law had given me, and I started reading The Death of Superman with the kids. And I didn't have the next story, so I went to the comic shops around town and started finding each issue until I completed the whole thing, and that's what started me collecting all over again. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, and that's a great story to do it with, man. I'll tell you, Death of Superman is right when my collection blew up too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was the 90s. Everybody was printing a ton of stuff.
Yep.
You know, and I was very much a DC guy, but you know, Superman had 4 ongoings.
Yep.
Plus a quarterly.
Yep.
Batman had 4 ongoings. I mean, the 90s was an era when you could have a monthly Vic Sage question.
Yeah.
Book, you know, and how often is that?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm in love with the 90s. Like Jim Lee's my favorite artist because of his X-Men run in the 90s, you know.
Right.
I mean, that's just my youth.
Right.
So
I liked that run through about 40, and then it was
yeah. I could
but
see that.
that's when also the art plummeted, the art and the stories kind of both plummeted.
Yeah.
I found this today.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, very cool.
That
Galactus and some dude. I don't know who the other guy is on the right.
That was Kang for a minute, but it doesn't look like it.
No, it looks like some like mechanized gladiator. But this is by Greg Pak and Quintana.
Cool. Looks like
I don't know, man.
Great cover.
Yeah, I'm a big Surfer fan.
Well, since we're talking Superman, and I guess if I'm going to do a quick little short, let's see what I got sort of deal.
Nice.
These are 2 of the 3 books I'm thankful for having this year, both of which I picked up earlier this year from a shop I no longer go to. So this first one here, now that you see it's a bit oversized, is my signed copy by Joe Shuster on the very first page on the interior. It is a ratty ass copy of Superman issue number 7, the first appearance of Perry White. Not that anyone really gives a crap about Perry White, but just take a look at this really nice, awful looking Superman symbol where they just said, you know what, I'm going to call it a day and
Screw it. I got paid.
I think there has been an alternate universe Superman that had that symbol.
There probably has been at some point.
I think there just was an alternate universe Superman who had that symbol. I'm going to have to find that now.
Well, good luck and bring it to the show. This is the other one that I picked up earlier this year. It is Action Comics 242, the first appearance of Brainiac. In my opinion, this is when the real lore of Kal-El, the Kryptonian, starts really taking place. Because up until this point, we haven't seen anybody that has been from his planet or anybody that could talk about what happened to his planet. So here is where it really begins. And those are 2 of the Superman books. But since I don't want to be partial to DC, yes, this might be a bit cheaper that I picked up earlier this year.
Show them.
The reason why, and it's not just because that Thor 390 is a newsprint or that it looks all nice in this cover, it's that once I open this up, and I will do this live on air, is that when I looked at Lady Fantastic running an auction a few weeks back, I had Brian from Take the Time Collectibles. He helps run Phil's Comic Shop in Broward County, Florida. And he said, hey, brother, if you want, I have this on an eBay auction. So he showed me a picture, and while there's some staining on the cover that you can probably see right about there, I did not really care so much about that because once I take a look inside, yeah, the pages are pretty nice, but wait a second. If I start flipping through it, because you can see it at the top, look through your books, especially from the early 90s, because, oh, what's this?
There you go.
It is Mark Jewelers. I do not have many Mark Jewelers anything, so me seeing one of these, it was great. And I picked it up at a nice price because back when the movie came out with Infinity War, this was $100 book for about the span of a week.
What?
And that week ended.
Mm-hmm.
I hate speculators, man. I'm sorry. I hate speculators. If anybody here is on the channel watching right now and you're a speculator, my apologies to you personally, as you are likely a wonderful individual. However, speculators as a group, I am not a fan of speculators. They almost killed us in the 90s, man.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know, they really did. They almost drove the comic industry into the ground and ended it fully because, you know, I mean, look at it today. You can go down, find 50-cent bins that, hell, they don't even put them in the 50-cent bins anymore. Valiant, Image, Dark Horse to a lesser extent at the time, Acclaim when Valiant sold out to them, Topps. You know, there were so many companies that were opening up and just flooding the market with comics, and some were decent. You know, some were real decent, but there was always a new number one, and you know, how many copies of Darker Image do you stumble across in every comic shop you ever go into? And you know, they swamped us with product, and you know, in 9 months when it all wasn't worth $1,000, people just started dumping the stuff like crazy.
And we have in here Life with Two YouTubers. That's Sharon. Go sub her up if you haven't. She has a good question here for those that aren't very familiar with it. What is a speculator? I'm sure we all have our own individual ideas on what a speculator is. But to me, it is somebody that comes in off the street. They are not into comic books. These are people that just want to make a quick dollar. I will call them Wednesday warriors because they will read Key Collector app, run into a store, buy out however many copies are remaining of, like, good example, Batman Beyond 37 that came out the other week that went to $15 on the same day because it was the first Batwoman Beyond. Who gives a crap? It's only her first appearance unless she has a whole bunch more that are rolling out over the course of next year, like that Batman Who Laughs. It's going to be a spike for 1 week. You'll sell the book. Hopefully you'll make your money back so you can buy more books the next week. That would be for a normal speculator that's into comic books. The people that aren't into comic books are the ones that ruined this whole industry back in the late 90s, starting from the death of Superman, that started that speculator boom and crashed it at Adventures of Superman 500. And
oh, yeah.
20 years for that book to be $1 book to now actually being worth something because it has the first Eradicator, Cyborg Superman, and it finally became something. But otherwise, that was the book that, since all these comic book stores said, well, I wound up selling a copy of Superman 75. It was my last one, but I sold it for $500. I am going to order all the copies of Adventures of Superman number 500.
Right.
They did. And they were stuck with mountains of them. It was like the Back to the Future video game of the 1980s. They're left in landfills.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was a ridiculous... You still find those. I got a dig spot that I go to that this guy, he's probably got 500 or 600 long boxes in the joint. And it's all 50-cent stuff. It's a big chunk of 90s. But you know, it goes into copper, and it goes up into occasional bronze, and it goes up into modern stuff. And literally, he has long boxes of just Adventures of Superman 500. That white bagged. He's got them bagged back to back in giant bricks. You know, at this point, man, mulch those books. There's no there's those books. There's got to be at least 2 million copies of that book floating around out there.
Oh, yeah.
I have one copy and one copy only, and then we're going to jump over to Miracleman because he does have a copy himself. We have Remy LeBuntman asking, would you consider the death of Superman to be in that category? Yes. Yes, yeah. I do. Because we have the Platinum Edition. I have no idea how the hell this found its way into my collection.
That's crazy.
Here it is.
That was a $200 book when Death of Superman happened. Immediately after, I went to a con. That book was on the shelf for $200, and I don't know what it was. I forget what its order was. A 1 in 100. It might have been 1 in 200 because people were certainly ordering them in 200s. I just today picked up a black bag edition. I already have 4 copies, but I didn't have one that was open, and I wanted to get the cool armband out. So I picked one up today out of the 50-cent bin, and then I also picked up a Superman 75. Now it's not the newsstand; it's direct market, but it's the 4th printing. And another thing I want to add in. Let me tell you how much it's blowing my damn mind that people are buying 4th printings of Superman. These things were clogging up the cheat bins for a solid decade afterwards. You couldn't flip through cheat bins without flipping through dozens of copies of this book. Right, Matt?
Right.
I mean, and and it's a great listen. If you read Death of Superman, I'm not going to denigrate it in any way. That is a key part of my collection. And there was actually some things that were done on it that were very unique that a lot of people never caught. Like when you start with, I think it's Man of Steel 19 is when he first busts out, and you have Doomsday still all wrapped up. He starts out as a 9-panel grid.
Oh yeah, I was going to bring that up.
He starts off as a 9-panel grid, and then every issue, the grid, the panels get bigger, and there's fewer on the page. Every single issue that it goes through, until you get to that final issue where everything is splash page, and then that 4-page gatefold at the end. Yeah. And a lot of people don't. It's the 90s. It's let's be honest. It's in vogue in the comic community to kick the 90s. Even if you love a lot from the 90s, I love a lot from the 90s. But if somebody's standing around, they're like, "Oh man, 90s comics," I'm be like, "Yeah, man, those sucked, right?" I'm not even going to push it back because it's not even worth the fight.
Yep.
There were a select few.
Oh, there's good stuff from the era, absolutely. But Superman, the death of, that was a well done story. They put a lot of effort and thought into it. The design, the delivery, it was just great. Unfortunately, some people use it as an excuse to take advantage of people.
Yep.
Because I've heard of shops that were, you had to spend $10 before you could buy it, and dude, there's going to be thousands of these things sitting in dollar bins forever. What are you doing to these people?
Yeah.
As far as I know, the 90s kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Sandman, we had The Preacher, and we had Sandman, Preacher, and Transmetropolitan.
Yeah.
They were all Vertigo titles, but back in the day when those were coming out, if you weren't into the superhero books, at least you could jump on over to Vertigo and read some literature.
Preacher, man, there's another book that jumped up to about $300 in the first season of the show. I don't know what it's doing right now.
I haven't even been paying attention because it's one of those books I'm not going to sell because I have the whole series and I bought it the day it came out.
Right.
Yeah.
I bought my first 5 issues of Preacher. I bought them out of a dollar bin literally 2 weeks before they announced the show.
Nice.
The first 5 pulled them right out. I was like, oh, nice. I had all the trades already. I'd already read it. I was like, yeah, I might as well add this to the collection, right?
Nice.
Yeah, that was a lucky one.
I found this guy today. Hulk 121, the Glob.
Nice.
I don't know if the Glob was like a precursor to the Man-Thing, but they have some striking similarities, especially inside of it. But I was pretty pumped to find the Glob.
The Man-Thing is just a ripoff of the Heap.
Yeah. And then there's this one I found, 127. Mogul.
Nothing like Hulk covers from that era, man.
They're beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are.
Also found this guy, this Bendis Moon Knight #1.
That I'm legit jealous over. I've been looking for one of them.
That's striking, isn't it?
It's nice.
Wowza. So, yeah, and then I found this guy for 50 cents, but it's so beautiful. Web of Spider-Man 96.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And it's the little things, man. Found a Young Avengers #9. Supposed to be a thing. Rob, you can go ahead and do whatever you're doing. I don't know if you're still there or.
Oh, I'm still here. Yeah, I love the Hulk from that era. I think I have 3 covers here to show. This one I picked up just a couple months back.
Beautiful.
So now I guess y'all know I'm trying to work on my Hulk run, because while everyone's trying to work on Spider-Man and X-Men, I'm trying to work on the ones others are not.
Nice.
So I picked this one up also earlier this year. This one I picked up from CJ's Comics and
Nice.
Doc Samson. And I saw one going on auction just the other day. I think it only went for $40, and I know I paid more than that for this. And this, because I'm working my way up to it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Appearance of Wendigo. Oh, that's not just the only appearance of Wendigo I have. I have the second appearance of Wendigo
Nice.
and the 4th appearance of Wendigo. Yeah, we don't know about the hairy Canadian that's short that's in this, but it has Wendigo.
One of them throwaway characters.
You're never going to see him again.
Nah, unimportant. Utterly unimportant.
Pulverine or something.
Something like that. You know, I pulled out some 90s stuff today myself. I don't normally go for this, but I don't know if anybody else has heard of the recent announcements, but I found myself some early Max here.
Cool.
And I had the first couple issues.
Hell yeah, man.
But something I noticed, one of our contemporaries on Twitter, a fellow by the name of Aaron Myers.
Oh yeah.
This is a guy, I'll tell you what, this is a guy that I see him get stuff and I'm like, how do you get that? But he had just put up a full run because he was selling it. And some of these covers, man, they're just insane. I remember when Max was coming out, this was one of those series that honestly at the time I thought was one of those speculator series. People were buying up that Max #1 like crazy. It was one of those books way overprinted. And it's something that you still find clogging the bins today. But as the series goes on, the print run drops precipitously.
Yes.
So as you get near the end of that run, man, there are very, very few copies. So anything after like the first 10 or 12, they start to drop off to like they're not even 5 digits. I think we're talking 4-digit print runs, which is common today, but back then was super duper low.
Yeah, I have most of a run of the Max. Problem is that my last issues end at 23,
Oh, right on.
26,
Nice.
Look at you guys.
and 30.
What did it go to? 38?
I think it went to 36, and the 36 issue, the last 2 were about $30, $40 a piece.
Yeah.
I do have these, the Ashcan edition,
Oh, that's cool.
and this is like the pit with Max in it, I think.
Yeah.
And the darker image, the white cover.
Oh.
And of course, everyone has the regular cover. I think I have like 10 of these.
Right. Everybody's got that book.
But the big one I have is the white cover.
Nice.
So I was a big fan of this. I was always saying that the Max was eventually going to be going somewhere, and finally it's happening. Unfortunately, I haven't finished getting the whole damn series yet.
Yeah, the one later print Max I have is to 29.
I'm going to want that.
Nice. Nice. Well, the Max, they had that cartoon on MTV back in the day. You ever watch that one, Matt?
Oh, yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah. I really dug that cartoon. It was funky. It was weird. The voiceover was cool. two little odd bits of trivia there. So they ended that show, and we never got an end to the show.
Nope.
About 7 years ago, MTV apparently made 2 episodes and put them out to finish the show. Yeah. So you gotta look them up. I caught them on MTV like 6 one night, flipping through cable back in the day when I had it, and I caught it and I watched it, and I won't lie, I may not have been of the proper mindset to recall it, but it was the same exact feel. They nailed it perfectly. And another thing. And I'm personally trying to get this system into my collection. Atari Jaguar. It's a big thing to do homebrew games for Atari Jaguar.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody made a Max homebrew game, the Atari Jaguar.
Damn.
Wow.
And I have never.
How do you find out about this weird shit?
I'm big into the homebrews too, so I watch those. But yeah,
can you find these videos on YouTube?
You can, as a matter of fact, find a video of the Max game on the YouTubes. So,
the YouTubes.
Be careful when you try to do a search for the Max video game. It comes up with like crazy shit that has nothing to do with the Max. I had to do it from Google and then redirect to the YouTube videos. So, I don't know why, it's kind of weird. But yeah, it's just he's kind of just running in the field because he would go to the Sahara, you go to the jungle, wherever in his dream world, and then he would pop back to the real world, and the little bitey guys would attack him.
I remember that, man.
Yeah, man. It was that comic. That was one of those first books that really was a mind F from start to finish. You just didn't know it. It was one of those first mainstream books. You had underground comics that were like that back in the day, like Zap and Fabulous Freak Brothers, where like the beginning of the story was intentionally set up to screw with you. But nothing that was like an ongoing mainstream series from a big publisher. And while it was, Image's earlier days, they were a powerhouse in the 90s, as we all know.
They were trying to make a Youngblood cartoon. They actually made a damn
Wildcats.
Was it Wildcats?
Yeah.
Where they turned all the guns into lasers because you can't use real bullets, despite the fact that on Gargoyles, you had one of the Gargoyles shoot the cop. So, yeah, I don't understand a lot of what was coming out back at the time. They just knew we have to make a property. We have to sell this and put it on TV. What if it's shit? It doesn't matter. Just get it on the TV.
Well, that's how you could sell the toys, man.
That's how they came across Toxic Avenger, the cartoon show.
I have that comic.
Man, 90s was all about the toys and the cards.
But if you saw the original Toxic Avenger, you'd be going, I don't want my kids playing with that toy.
Alex, no.
It was nasty.
It's like running into a furry at a convention and a small child. It would be like if Matt's kid, one that's under 18, goes up and goes, Daddy, look, a furry from Avatar. Keep the hell away from that kid.
Dude, those early trauma video movies, every single one of them, you would not, if you watch them today, they were cringe back then. But if you watch them today, they are uber cringe. It's like, it's so outside of the current culture, just the stuff they say to each other. You feel I watched Toxic Avenger, the first one, last year. And I remember when I was a kid, I was like, oh yeah, I love that movie. Nah, man, you watch that movie now, you're like,
Yeah, you think about that special effect that was used in the movie RoboCop, where right after the acid was thrown over the bad guy, here comes this dude in a car that goes, he was my friend. Oh, fuck it. Plows right into him and turns him into road pizza.
The second one. That was the second one, right?
That was the first RoboCop.
That was the first RoboCop?
Yeah, the Verhoeven one, the first one. Now, when I go and watch the Toxic Avenger, for some reason, I correlate the two together because of that one scene. I go back and watch Toxic Avenger and go, that had some good special effects. No, it did not. What happened? Oh, my mind, because of nostalgia, adds an extra layer to it that makes it seem like it's better than it was. So when all your boomer parents are telling you, hey, there was this great movie I watched when I was a kid, you should watch it. What's it called, Mom? What's it called, Dad? Toxic Avenger. Okay.
Yeah, that was probably one of the worst films of the era when it came to a technical proficiency.
It was terribly made.
But when you watch Romeo and Juliet, that was actually a halfway decently good and well-made movie.
The Baz Luhrmann one?
No, that's Romeo and Juliet. I'm talking Tromeo and Juliet.
No clue what you're talking about.
Trauma home videos, direct-to-videos. They did a whole bunch of schlocky horror movies in the early 80s. They all had a budget of about $86. And it showed...
Barbarian Kung Fu has got it right there. Nuke 'Em High is one of those early ones that resonated and a lot of people remembered, but all the movies that came out subsequently were all acted by people like us that have never acted before and go in there and make a movie, read this dialogue. But it's stilted. It doesn't matter. We're here for the violence and the sex and the boobies.
Roddy Piper did a movie with them. Frogville, Return to Frogville, something like that. I've never seen it, and I honestly regret that to this day. I feel like
you'll never get back again.
I should go watch that movie. I should go watch it. Just get a big old tub of popcorn. Tell everybody, don't call me. Don't come in this room.
Leave me alone.
I'm doing something I'm ashamed of, but I have to do it.
Go away.
All right.
It pains me to say this, but if you have to go back and rewatch that again, not only do you bring a big old tub of popcorn, you bring a big old tub of brain eraser vodka, the cheapest you can find.
Plastic
the
bottle.
Used to keep me asleep for days or possibly even weeks on end. That's what you do because you don't want to remember that after it's done.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
All right. I hate to be a killjoy, but I am sleepy. I want to go to bed, but I want to I want to thank you all and say that I appreciate you all coming and listening to me talk about nothing. And until next time.
Happy Thanksgiving, Lady F.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Lady Fantastic. I'm going to close the show right now because I don't want to have people leaving one by one and people going, why are you still broadcasting? You ran out of dialogue long ago.
Sorry.
I'm going to give some quick thanks to some community members that are right here in this room and broadcasting with me. If it wasn't for the fact that Lady Fantastic was broadcasting towards the beginning of this year, right around April, I probably would not have come on here to do this. It was watching her doing these videos almost on a regular basis, whether it be daily or every couple days. I wanted to have her kind of frequency. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. I want to thank Matt, TheBoyWhoHad7, because if I didn't see him in a YouTube auction, I wouldn't have known about comic gories. Although I probably would have figured that out eventually because it's the most popular thing on the internet to comic books. Watch it this Friday at 6 p.m. So if you're not sure about that, I'm going to have the times up here. The auction for Robert the Comic Book G-Spot Galvin, it will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central. And we are having Comic Gories. It will be on The Boy Who Had 7 Talks Comic Books on his channel. It will start at 6 p.m. Eastern Time or 5 p.m. Pacific. Is that right?
Three Pacific.
Three Pacific time. So that's the times those are going to be on. I would like to also thank those people that are live in the chat room, sharing life with two YouTubers, Ricky Ricardo Jose Rodriguez Vacas. He is my hiring attorney. He hires me as a court reporter, which is my job. Thank you, Remy, for joining us tonight. Barbarian Kung Fu, Unruly Simeon. Who else is in here? The Gray Man, all the way from England. Thank you for joining us. Also in here, we have the Comic Assassin. We have 1, 2 Comic Talk. Thank you. If I haven't said your name tonight, those that join, the dog in the background, we thank you for barking. More than anything, I'm thankful for being alive in this world today.
Yeah.
I left a prison earlier this morning, so rule number one in life, don't die. I have a very simple rule. It's a very low bar to clear. Rule number one, don't die. If you break that rule, no other rules matter. So as long as you're going to sleep at night and you're not in prison and you're still breathing, I call it a win. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Miracleman, TheBoyWhoHad7 will be joining you on this Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. And otherwise, you can catch Lady Fantastic and I this coming Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Or if Comic Gories goes a few minutes over, we'll wait for it because we want to lead in because we would have no hope of competing against Comic Gories. So thank you all tonight. And this will conclude our broadcast. I will let everybody know that we will be back here again next Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, Matt, for joining us tonight. Miracleman, Lady Fantastic, as always. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody watching live. If you're watching this on Thanksgiving Day, thank you. We've gone an hour and 36 minutes. We did a pretty good episode tonight. Thank you for joining us. Good night. Eat some turkey.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
See ya.